Camera. Okay.
Bonjour, I'm Martine Tuileries, and I'm here at the World Water Summit in Paris, France. We are about to witness a meeting of the minds as representatives from developing countries come together to discuss significant issues of water contamination around the world. Such issues include lack of education, water privatization, disease, water pollution, women's rights, and lack of sanitation. Conference participants will be brainstorming solutions to problems that are currently affecting their countries.
Jumbo, my name is Melanie Blaza, and I'm here as a representative from the Kenyan Embassy, and I'm here to develop solutions from the dramatically increasing water problem of contamination.
Bonjour, my name is Annie Johnston, and I'm here as a representative from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and I'm about external water contamination.
Hola, my name is Brandon Mites. I am here from Bolivia as a water privatization expert.
Bonjour, my name is Hannah Shin, and I am here as a representative of education government.
Hello, my name is Amira Casamini, and I'm the founder of Women for Water, a nonprofit organization based in South Africa. I'm here to consider solutions to water contamination.
Bonjour, my name is Halcyon Brown, and I will serve as the moderator for our discussion. Today, we are here to consider the vital issue of water in our communities. We will discuss our country's problems and propose sustainable solutions. First question, how is the water crisis affecting poverty in your countries?
In Kenya, water pollution is a serious issue that has a variety of human and environmental impacts. You see, since the water is polluted, when it is used for irrigating crops, the crops become spoiled, and the jobs of farm workers are threatened. This leads to a dangerously high unemployment rate, in addition to the workers not being able to provide for their families, which leads to extreme poverty in our country, right now being a 57% poverty rate.
Poverty and a high unemployment rate are also recurring problems in South Africa. Typically, women and children bear the burden of having to carry over 6 kilometers of water back to their households. The amount of time it takes women worldwide to fetch water totals at 200 million hours a day, greatly surpassing the time taken to complete any other chore. This means that in the time that women and children are fetching water, they miss school, which is essential for their growth, and acquiring jobs, which are necessary factors to sustainably support their survival. Consequently, breaking out of the poverty cycle is practically impossible.
The Congo is experiencing the same difficulties. The growing issue of water contamination rapidly spreads disease, which is our principal concern. Disease not only causes countless deaths, it magnifies the issue of poverty. Sick adults can't work, and therefore they can't support their families. They're limited, because there's no money, their limited access to clean water becomes even harder to obtain, as does the medicine which they desperately need.
Disease and poverty are pronounced issues in Kenya. The government can't help our people because we're so poor that we are forced to choose between cleaning the water or providing basic immediate needs. Obviously, the immediate needs trump anything else. So even though we all need clean water, it's not possible without international help. Now, one baby dies every 19 seconds, 200 children die every day, and 6,000 people die every day across the globe due to water contamination, which alone provides incentive to find a solution.
How do international companies interfere with a citizen's access to clean water?
In Bolivia, there's a major problem with water privatization and it affects young and old people. Many people die every day because of the lack of water. Companies privatize water, and that takes the water away from the citizens. Then people have to drink dirty water and they die from the water diseases. Also, water privatization affects food because water is needed for cultivating food, and as a result, the citizens don't have enough food. So water privatization doesn't just take away civilians' water, it also limits the amount of food they can grow.
One of the main reasons why multinational corporations outsource their businesses to developing countries is because the developing countries don't have environmental protection laws. Giant factories emit pollutants such as toxic fumes, trash, and sewage into the air and water sources. As a result, a developing country's water sources become infected.
How are women affected by limited access to water, and are women more affected than men?
In South Africa, although women are walking for water is a tradition, none should have to suffer every day only to get their basic needs. Together, women in South Africa walk the equivalent distance of 319 times around Earth's equator every day. This limits the time that could be spent doing other mandatory jobs and receiving an education that could help us out of the poverty cycle.
Our people walk for miles to procure water, potable or not, for the closest swamp, pond, or river. It negatively affects affects the spine growth because they backpack up to 40 pounds of water every day. Women and children shouldn't have to carry water back and forth for miles on end.
And the trips that they make aren't safe either, owing to the fact that they risk animal attacks, sexual assault, or other injuries every time they walk for water, which can be more than twice a day.
How is lack of sanitation impacting people in the developing world?
I think that all of the issues stated above come down to our country's lack of sanitation. More people own a cell phone than a toilet, and even more lives are taken due to unsafe sanitation methods and more. Also, people in developing countries are more than 20 times more likely to get sick because they don't have the same sanitation as those in developed countries. Now, a quarter of the world's population doesn't have proper sanitation.
Only 23% of the people in Congo have proper sanitation. And because the overall sanitation is poor, people consume water with human and animal waste, pesticides, and other pollutants mixed in.
And because water is so rare, hand washing and bathing move to the bottom of the priority list, contributing to a climatic increase in disease outbreaks and school closures.
Now that we have discussed complications in our countries, do you have any international solutions to propose?
I was thinking that the most helpful solution for our countries might be foreign aid programs. Half of all projects are left unfinished, so if we encourage or even require programs to be finished, citizens would benefit. These programs raise money, help build houses, latrines, pumps, filters, educations, and much more. It's inexpensive, so countries like mine don't have to pay up all on their own.
While developed countries sending aid to help build sustainable solutions is helpful, I also think that educating the people can make a huge difference. The little things like using soap and washing hands prevents 45% of diseases.
These factors matter, but it is also important to bring new aid and innovative technology. Sustainable energy for these programs also needs to be incorporated because of the fact that this type of energy can renew itself. Because of this, I suggest UV lights, solar energy, sand filters, or even gravity filtration. Investing in these resources is essential, even though the initial cost might be high.
Using new technology is very important, but could be expensive and hard to come by. A less expensive option could include pumps at schools and villages so people could easily access clean water. One example of this technology is play pumps. Kids play on merry-go-rounds play equipment that provides the energy to pump the clean water to the surface. This would also encourage children to come because they wouldn't need to walk for 6 hours in order to reach a water source, and they would have time for academics.
Right. As the hygiene of schools improves, we have the opportunity to educate the younger members of our community. And they can help to educate those around them, which helps us solve the issue of doctor education.
I do think that education is an issue, but what about the people every day who are dying from disease? If everyone drinks the same contaminated water, many people will die or become extremely ill. So I propose that wells and pumps are checked regularly to make sure that none are contaminated. Developing countries like South Africa will be in better shape and people will be able to live sustainable lives. If we create programs that monitor the water sources, many lives can be saved.
If organizations like Water for Life can help us fund a well in our village, the women of our communities won't have to walk for water, and they will have more time to attend school and support their families.
There are 2.4 million more people living in the U.S. than there are people that have access to clean water. Having access to clean water should have already been a human right, but now people die at a rate equal to that of a plane crashing every 4 hours. Water is essential for survival. It gives the entire world life. Without it, nothing could survive. This alone should ensure that water should become a human right. People are starving, dying, and suffering because of lack of water. The UN Millennium Development Goals strives to have the portion of population that doesn't have sustainable access to clean water and essential sanitation by 2015. If the governments of our developing countries could achieve this, billions of lives could be saved. Though it might be a challenge to accomplish this goal, this would improve the world.
Can anyone think of other solutions at the national level?
Privatization has gone too far. In some countries, even rainwater is privatized. There are some countries like Aquafed that are trying to end the problem. If other countries help the citizens kick out the companies that are privatizing the locals' water, privatization could be resolved.
The government is responsible for the welfare of their people. They are there to protect the public. Right now, some developing countries pay up to 4 times the amount that Americans do for water. This is a huge problem, and the government is able to set up restrictions to set a fair price to water. Not too high so that the people don't waste, so the people can't buy the water, but not too low so that they don't waste it.
Another solution that could take place at the national level is creating environmental protection laws. Because the water sources are often contaminated by the people and the companies, the government can make laws that can help protect the environment from themselves. This would reduce unclean water because the contamination of surface water is often from the people.
Besides obtaining help from other countries, we can also look on solutions in our local villages. People in South Africa are eliminating invasive species plants because they consume a great portion of water that local people need. By taking out the plants, people have more water for their daily use.
Though all our countries are poor, there are still things that we can do to help this ever-growing problem. We can encourage people to not throw lead into streams, use environmentally friendly products, conserve water, dispose of toxic chemicals properly, or even just pick up litter that they see next to the stream.
In this summit, we have discussed various problems and solutions to the overall issue of water contamination in our countries. It appears that the problem that seems most occurring and throughout all our countries is water pollution, poverty, women's rights, lack of children's education, lack of proper sanitation, disease, and water privatization. Though these problems are serious obstacles to resolving the water crisis, we have discussed many different concepts, the best of which include foreign aid, sanitation, new technology, protection laws, and making water a human right. In conclusion, if we put one of these ideas into motion in our countries, it could possibly solve the water situation starting in our countries, and eventually we can work to solving this problem across the entire world. Thank you everyone for watching the World Water Summit here in Paris, France. Today, representatives from developing countries across the world have analyzed the urgent complications of contaminated water in their countries and have devised a handful of promising solutions. After watching this, I hope you now have a better understanding of the struggle these developing countries face and do whatever you can to help people less fortunate than you. Next up is Paris's weather forecast for this week.
All right.